Hey guys, so first of all, I just want to say I'm really sorry for taking so long to get this video to you. It's been long overdue, and I apologize. Some things have gotten in the way of me filming it, but now I'm here to talk about my Q&A answers part 2. Let's get right off the bat into the first question. Keith O'Neill asks, when doing reviews, do you write down stuff you think while the movie is playing, or are the things you say in videos just off the top of your head and making it up as you go along? It's a little bit of both. See, I don't write during the movies. I don't. No, I do know some people who write during movies. I can't do that because I actually find that it just, first off, I can't actually see the paper. I'm like in the dark and I'm like trying to write it, but it's not just that. I find it's very distracting for me to try to write during a movie. Like I will be writing something like, ooh, that was so cool, and then I'll miss something that happens and I'm like, oh crap, I just missed that. A lot of my videos are improv style, but I definitely think up kind of a structure in my head before going to actually do the review. I kind of think up a general, this is what I want to say, these are the points I want to make, and then I do kind of expound upon them through improv. From JW, he sent me a very nice message, but his question was, I was wondering, when you're not parodying or, you know, like doing like a parody skit of something, you know, like making up a short film that kind of parodies another movie, what do you like to write? And if you ever made it in Hollywood, what kind of movies would you like to make? Are there any ideas that you've been floating around in your head that you consider your dream project? I'll make a little announcement here. I'm currently saving to go to film school. There's a Cleveland film school that I can get a degree in film directing, and that's kind of a goal of mine, and it's been a goal for a long time. I know that some of the best directors in Hollywood, like Spielberg and Scorsese, they never actually went to film school. I still think it would definitely be, in today's day and age, it would be a good help and a good learning experience for me. But if I did ever get to direct real films in Hollywood, I definitely have some very personal tales I like to tell that I won't get into, but I also have a lot of fun popcorn pulpy entertainment kind of movies that I would love to make as well. From Gus Babington, hey Chris, as you know, I've been a longtime viewer since 2007. Wow. Thank you, sir. Really. Thank you. Always been a fan of your films and what you come up with next. Was just curious, do you have any plans for a new short film anytime in the near future? I do have an idea in my head of a short film that I want to make this summer. It's kind of about this one guy who's on a revenge path, and that's all I really want to say, but it's been in my head for a long time. It's very city nightlife inspired, very film noir-ish, and I would love to be able to do that at some point. Thank you, Gus. I've seen your comments forever. You've been amazing. You might actually be my first ever fan/viewer, so thank you. I don't even know what to say. I'm constantly amazed by the fact that anyone watches my videos, so thank you. From Christian, I'll make this nice and simple. In your opinion, what are your thoughts of Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in There Will Be Blood? Incredible. One of the best performances ever given by an actor. I had the Blu-ray over there. It's one of those movies where you don't actually see the actor, you just see this guy. He is that guy. And as you watch the movie, there is no actor there. It's just, that's a guy. And that's really the best compliment that you can give an actor, is to say, I did not see you in that role. You were just that man, and he was, and it's one of the best performances ever. I love that movie. Marshall Abbott sent me a few questions. He wants to know, what is my favorite episode of Spongebob? I do enjoy the older episodes of Spongebob. My favorite was called Just One Bite. It's this episode where Squidward becomes addicted to Krabby Patties, but he's afraid to tell Spongebob, and it has some of the funniest little animations in there. Squidward's face when he's like, does this look unsure to you? And then he's like, get this really close-up, this animated version of his face, just like really upset and everything. Just a lot of fun moments in that episode. No, Squidward, I meant good for your soul. He'd also like to know, do you like survival horror games? If so, which are your favorite? Definitely the first Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil 4 as well. I've played other survival horror games, but none of them have really got to be that fun as Resident Evil was, so definitely those games. Josh Logan wants to know, I know you're a fan of more retro games like Zelda and GoldenEye, but do you ever get a chance to play newer games like Assassin's Creed or Skyrim? Yes, I do. I have a PS3, I have a Wii, I'm probably going to get the PS4 when it comes out, and I do like to play video games more, and as I've made an announcement recently, I'd like to start reviewing them more, just because I want to tell you guys my thoughts on video games, and I may not be as skilled a video game reviewer as some people who've been doing it for longer than me, but I will try to learn more about it. I'm currently playing Metal Gear Solid 2 on the HD collection. I've played the game before, but I got the HD collection for PS3, and I want to play 2, 3, and Peace Walker in HD, because the 4 Metal Gear Solid games I consider my favorite video game ever. I also just beat Heavy Rain. That game is immersive and incredible, and yeah, Heavy Rain is one of the most cinematic game experiences I've ever had. Jonah Schwartz asks me, hey Chris, where does the intro/outro music come from in your videos? I actually made that myself. I composed it with sound clips through GarageBand so that I could, you know, not be hit with some sort of copyright thing. It's entirely my own composition, so it comes from me, I guess. Bill Thompson asked me a few questions. He'd like to know, have I ever seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Fantastic movie. I have the Blu-ray as well for that. Love that movie. So funny. Directed by Shane Black, written by Shane Black, starring Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer. And that's one of the things that gives me a lot of hope for Iron Man 3 is Shane Black's inclusion in it with Robert Downey Jr. Again, pretty cool movie. Definitely looking forward to Iron Man 3. From Weil Al Jaber, I'm almost positive I screwed that up entirely. I apologize. He'd like to know what are my thoughts on Stanley Kubrick. He mentioned that I haven't really talked much about him. As a person, from what I understand, Stanley Kubrick wasn't exactly the greatest guy. He was, I guess, a little hard to work with, but his films are immaculate. I mean, it's like when you watch one of his movies, it's just stunning, the amount of visual ingenuity that go into his movies and the obvious amount of planning that just went to this insane degree of being able to plan each movie. And some of his movies took years to make. I mean, Eyes Wide Shut basically shut down Tom Cruise's career for like 2 years because of how long that movie took to make. He's very meticulous. He's a little difficult to work with from what I've understood in the past, and he wasn't really the nicest guy, but his movies are insanely well made. From Daniel S. Sorry man, I honestly can't pronounce that. I would butcher it and I apologize. Are you going to co-host the 2013 Year Reviewers Awards? I'm actually going to be going to LA in a couple days, actually, and I'm going to go on the Schmoes Know podcast with Jeremy Johns and John Flickinger, the Flick Pick, and the Schmoes, of course. And we're all going to actually be there in LA for the filming of the Year Reviewers Awards, and that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm actually going to make one more announcement video about this as well. But in case you don't get a chance to see that video, I'm going to be in LA in a few days, and I'm excited for it. And yeah, Year Reviewers Awards, man. I'm pumped. From Michael Rockwell, finally a name that I can just pronounce. He would like to know, what are my thoughts on Girl Meets World, the new spin-off show to Boy Meets World? And he'd like to know, was I a fan growing up and if it meant anything to me. Yeah, I watched like every episode of that show growing up. It was like a thing with me. I would watch it every day after school. It was on this one channel. I forget what the channel was, but I would watch it every day. And I just got so like all into that world. And it was really funny actually. And even though it was kind of heartfelt, and a little like more cheesy sometimes than it could have been, it was actually a pretty well written show. I've watched a few episodes of it recently again. I got some of the season DVDs. And that show was actually pretty funny. I don't think it was just because I was a kid and I grew up with it. It was actually a pretty well-made show. And as for the spin-off, of course I'm afraid. You know, you're afraid of it. It's not going to be the same because you're older now. I just hope that it's not some mindless thing. And I've read Danielle Fishel, I believe that's how you say her name, Danielle Fishel's, or Topanga's. She wrote like a giant open letter about it, how they all feel really close to it and they don't want to ruin it. And they feel just as sacred about it as a lot of its fans do. So hopefully it'll be good. From Bradley Hinkson, he has a few questions for me. He'd like to know, what are some of my favorite guilty pleasures? The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage. That is such a horrible movie, but my word, is it hilarious. What's in the bag? A shark or something? You know what movie is so bad? Batman and Robin. That is an absolutely horrible movie, but it is so funny though. If it's viewed as a comedy, it's freaking hilarious. The Room, of course, is a classic one right there. The Room, oh my word. I actually penned a word based off these type of movies. Hilariosity. They are such an atrocity that they are hilarious. He'd also like to know, do you know what a brony is? I unfortunately do. It's a man who likes the My Little Pony cartoon, and I've seen it, okay? Here's the honest truth. My girlfriend loves that show, and she has forced me to watch it, and it's not awful. It actually is not awful. It's sort of funny. I'm not a brony, though. I'm not. Richard M. asks me, I've seen about 50 of your videos now. I've noticed they're very clear. I would just like to know what microphone and camera you use. I use a Nikon D50-100, and my microphone is the Rode video mic. You can get that off Amazon. The thing about my videos though, it's not just the camera. You have to be sure to export it in at least 720 HD so that if you want to choose 720 HD, then you can get the clarity, because even if you have a great camera, you got to make sure the settings for exporting your video are good so that for YouTube to understand the video, and you can find a lot of tutorial videos on YouTube for that. JAV8499 would like to know, that's the name I have, do you prefer movies shot in film or digital? I think that's a great question. There's a really good documentary I saw called Side by Side, hosted by Keanu Reeves, that is entirely about that. And I gotta say, look, digital has great things about it. For one, you can actually see the film as you are making your movie. You can then immediately view it on a monitor and see if it looks well. When you're shooting with film, you can't do that. You have to look at dailies. And there are certain benefits to both. However, film just has this crispness and this almost imperfection about it that somehow makes it have more life than digital does. And although certain films look fantastic digitally, and there's no, like, you know, Skyfall for instance, I believe was shot digital, there's no problem with it. I think that film has a life that digital won't necessarily have, but they both definitely have their benefits. My good buddy, Alan Gunn, would like to know, many movies now regarded as classics received mixed/negative reviews when they first came out. What are some movies that have come out somewhat recently and received mixed/negative reviews that you feel will be looked upon more favorably in the coming years? Well, I think that Prometheus is one of those movies. I truly do. I think that that's one of the movies that was harmed by hype and initial reaction and thoughts about has to be like Alien, has to be like Aliens. I think that 20 years from now, that movie will be regarded a little bit more highly. The problem is that with the internet generation, everything is like set in stone. It's like, oh, it came out and this is its grade on Rotten Tomatoes and this is its grade on IMDb and this is its grade on Metacritic. Well, 20 years from now it's going to have that same grade, so, you know, I guess it's just that way. When Psycho came out in the 60s and people were like, whoa, I don't know about this, there was no Rotten Tomatoes, there was no IMDb, there was no like set in stone grade that it was given to certain places. Even though that's just people's opinions, they didn't have that back then. Nowadays it's regarded as a classic and everyone's like, oh, Psycho is so brilliant, and it is, but that's because now you can look back on the time that has come since then and you can see how inspirational it was. At the time it was just Psycho, and this is I don't know about this one, this is a little too much. Nowadays it's viewed as differently, but unfortunately there wasn't any internet back then. But I think the internet really has a big pull on how people initially feel about a movie, because if people recognize that all these people are starting to feel the same way about a movie, and I'm going to jump in with the crowd now because look at all these people hating on it, I think the internet definitely has an influence on it, and Twitter and social media for sure. Unfortunately, it's true, it really does have an influence on culture and people's thoughts on things, and I really think that certain movies would be looked at differently in the coming years if it wasn't for things like the internet and hype and stuff like that. So guys, thank you so much for sending me all these questions. I apologize once again for getting part 2 a little bit overdue, but thanks so much for all your wonderful questions. It really blew my mind, the response that was given, and it continues to blow my mind that you guys enjoy watching my videos, and I thank you. You know, I'm just a guy who loves movies, and I enjoy talking about them. I don't really think much of myself, but the fact that you guys do does mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate that. I really do. And I'm constantly surprised by it, so thanks very much, and I'll be back very soon. In fact, tonight I'm going to go see The Last Stand with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And as always, guys, if you like this video, then you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.